Good afternoon. Really? Good afternoon. All right. Welcome to the November 6, 2024 regular board meeting of the Savannah-Chatham County Board of Education. We'll start by being assured that we did post this meeting, and it has been posted. If you will all now please stand for the national anthem.
Good afternoon. Singing the national anthem for today's board meeting will be the 7th and 8th grade chorus from the New Hampstead K-8 school. This ensemble is led by James Kirk, who is the director of choral activities at New Hampstead K-8. He has taught at this school for 4 years and in SEC PSS for 20 years. And we are very honored and excited to have these young developing voices perform the national anthem for you today. After the singing of the national anthem, would you please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's hear it again for New Hampstead K-8. I will now accept a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended and posted.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you. Okay. Announcements. First, Monday, November 11th, of course, is Veterans Day. So we will be closed. Tuesday, November 12th is Board Accountability Committee here at the Whitney Complex at 3:30. Nice. Yes, woo, data. Tuesday, November 12th, Jacob G. Smith parent meeting on the renovation project at Jacob G. Smith at 6 p.m. Is that 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.? I'm sorry, that's 5 p.m. Then Wednesday, November 13th, Finance Committee. And it is at 11 o'clock here in the Whitney Building. Also Thursday Wednesday, we'll have our second board workshop on East Plus 5, and it will be here at 1 p.m. Friday, November 15th, we'll have our truancy sweep. Say that 5 times. Then Thursday, November 21st, our audit committee meeting here at 8 a.m. November 25th through the 27th is our Thanksgiving holiday. And November 27th and 28th, Thanksgiving break, all district staff. December 3rd is our Biscuits and Bills legislative breakfast at the Marriott Savannah Riverfront at 8:30 a.m. Wednesday, December 4th, our Capital Improvement Committee. Wednesday, December 4th, our annual Teacher of the Year reception at Woodville Tompkins High School. Thursday, December 5th, our 2025 legislative breakfast at Groves High School. December 9th, top out at the Annex and Multi-Campus at the DEH complex. December 23rd through January 3rd is our winter break. January 6th, 2025 is our staff planning day, no school for students. And January 7th, 2025, students return to school.
President Moss?
Yes.
If I can just, the Jacob G. Smith renovations project meeting on the 12th does start at 6. I know there was a little bit confusion.
Oh, it does start at 6, not 5. Okay, good. Thank you. Next, in memory of, we have Kim Sherian Reed, retired principal from Windsor Forest Elementary, date of passing October 25th. Catherine Jackson, retired principal from Garrison School, date of passing October 30th. Edwina Lewis, school nurse at Gadsden Elementary School, date of passing October 24th. If we would all stand for a moment of silence, please. Dr. Watts.
It is always a joy to share in celebration of our Student of the Month. And this particular month, we are highlighting a Jenkins High School student, a senior at Jenkins High School. She is a School of Engineering student, currently ranked in the top 5 students for the class of 2025 with a grade point average of 98.4. She also participates in advanced placement courses as well as dual enrollment courses at Georgia Southern. She has been recognized as an AP Scholar, earning a score of 4 or higher on 3 of her 4 AP exams so far. In addition to her rigorous coursework in which this student participates, the scholar leads both the Jenkins Model United Nations team and the Civic Engagement Student Ambassadors Program. She also works to organize a voter registration drive at Jenkins for eligible students. We are very proud to announce the Superintendent's Student of the Month for October 2024, Joanna de la Silva Carvalho. If you'll please join us.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank
And if she'll remain standing with her parents and the teacher who nominated her, because we need to celebrate you all as
Yes.
well. Joanna will be taking home several very special gifts from our sponsors, including Members First Credit Union, Advertising Specialties, Georgia Southern University, Gulfstream, and more. In addition, Joanna and her language arts class, her and the students will be receiving copies of her favorite book, The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa, donated by our sponsor, E. Shaver Bookseller. Again, congratulations, Joanna, to your family as well, and the Jenkins Warriors Nation, and special thanks to the principal, Justin Durham. And with that said, I'll pass the next agenda item over to our professional Senate representatives for their report.
Good afternoon. We would like to thank the board members who were present at our Senate meeting in October. Roger Moss, Denise Grabowski, Sean Kashmar, Dr. Hoskins Brown, and Dr. Howard Hall. Thank you for taking the time to come out and meet with our Senate members. The board members were asked a series of questions submitted by Senate members. Board members engaged in extensive conversation and offered updates from a policy and governance standpoint. Key topics that brought most discussion included parent engagement and respect for the teaching profession, staff time, planning time, and safety and security. So our topics of discussion, we were talking about each school, community, and culture, how they are different, and how one common concern across grade levels is respect, amongst the community between families and teachers, staff, as professionals. So we were asking if the board could strengthen communications with parents to respect teachers and staff. The board has adopted a budget to have a greater engagement with families under public affairs. Dr. Hoskins Brown offered that challenging communications often come from a place of fear or disempowerment, and to consider the origin of privilege and power when communicating. Parents should handle issues at the school level first. Teachers and staff should create and maintain positive relationships and should educate the parents on how to communicate with them. And the board can continue to encourage engagement in a positive way. If there's anything that needs to be done, our board members said to please let them know. Another topic of concern was staffing positions in the district, specifically full-time RTI, media clerk, and special security officers. This is a high priority topic with full budget allocation for security purposes. There are many vacancies and several are going through the hiring process. We also discussed staff leave time and make up work hours due to Hurricane Helene, which was covered in the last board brief. And finally, a high priority topic of discussion was lesson planning time, and designated planning time was cited as an issue at some schools. So leaders should come up with a more innovative way to complete necessary tasks that do not encroach on planning time. And the Senate will be collecting and reporting data from schools to determine specific sites where issues are reported. We discussed the professional Senate vision from Dr. Watts. She shared her broader vision for the cadence of communication across our schools through the professional Senate. Senate members will gather feedback from school staff. This information will then be shared with the school principal to solve any site-based issues. Any unsolved issues would then move up to the Senate. This empowers staff at the school level and will allow the Senate to focus on trends and patterns at the district level. Our upcoming topics for the November meeting, we'll be hearing from Tamika Tribble, Executive Director of Engagement and Outreach. We will be having our initial planning session for the 25-26 SEC PSS calendar, and we'll also discuss any pressing topics from our Senate data collection. Our next meeting will be on Wednesday, November 20th, from 4:15 to 5:15 at Jenkins High School. Thank you.
Thank you. It is always a good time to highlight good news, and there are many reasons for applause and celebrations this month. Literacy Week 2024 is both literally and figuratively in the books. We could not be happier with the support we have received. We engage families, staff, students, and an outstanding community partners as well. Thank you, Chatham Education Alliance, for bringing Kareem Weaver back to Savannah. We would also like to thank our entire team for their support, hard work, and clear commitment to literacy. And speaking of literacy and reading, kudos to our media specialist, Stephanie Donley at Southwest Middle School for her collaboration with Books Are Fun and their enrichment program, Book Blast. With its innovative approach to creating bookworms, Book Blast guarantees at least one new book in the hands of every single student at no cost to the school or to parents. In 2 short weeks, with the help of the community far and wide, the students at Southwest Elementary School had over 1,100 brand new books. Well done, Mrs. Donley. Congratulations to Savannah Arts Academy cast and the crew of the one-act play Blood Wedding by Federico Garcia Lorca, which has won the Georgia Theater Conference Ray Horn Festival this past week. With this win, they will represent the state of Georgia at the National SETC competition in March in Baltimore. This is such an exciting honor for Savannah Arts Academy Theater and for our entire district. Kudos are extended to the STEM Academy at Bartlett for being recognized as an Apple Distinguished School again. The award is for the school's use of technology, included one-to-one iPad programming and integration of apps across the curriculum to create a culture of innovation and academic achievement. The school was first recognized for the honor in 2016-2018, and it has renewed this honor every 3 years since that time. And hats off to our Student and Family Services team for their exciting Red Ribbon Rally on October 25th. Red Ribbon Week aims to motivate communities to educate youth and encourage participation in drug prevention activities. The district is focused on helping students make healthy decisions and lived choice-filled lives. And finally, well, not finally, because I have another big reveal, but to highlight another special recognition, congratulations to our very own Chief Terry Enoch for his selection as the parade marshal for the 2024 Savannah State University Homecoming Parade. Chief Enoch has dedicated himself to serving his community in public safety and volunteer work, and he serves on the boards of many local nonprofit organizations. One more accolade among the many awards Chief Enoch deserves as he continues to be selfless in his service to our community. We are very proud of Chief Enoch. And for our final reveal, there are a need to put our hands together once more as we recognize our Georgia literacy leaders. I am so proud of the portfolio of schools that I'm getting ready to announce. As you all know, literacy is our North Star, and these are schools that are certainly demonstrating our aspiration in many ways. The Georgia Department of Education recognizes achievement or growth in the percentage of students reading at or above grade level. The criteria for the Literacy Leader Award recognizes those schools and the crucial importance of grade level reading in 3rd and 6th grades and the impact it has on a student's ability to read over the course of his or her entire educational career. Awards were given at the elementary and middle school levels and at the high school level based on the American Literature EOC, which is the state test for ELA in high school. Please join me in congratulating these schools that I'm getting ready to name for their achievement as state-designated literacy leaders. Butler High School, and if I can have these principals and any teachers who are here. Butler Elementary, I'm sorry. Any principal or teachers who are here representing their schools, if I could have then please report to the front. So Butler Elementary School for 3rd grade gateway growth, Coastal Middle School for 6th grade gateway growth, 7th and 8th grade growth as well. Charles Ellis Montessori is being recognized for 3rd grade gateway growth and 5th and 7th grade growth. Garrison School for the Arts is recognized for 5th grade growth, 6th grade gateway growth, and 7th and 8th grade achievement. Hodge Elementary School is being recognized for 3rd grade gateway growth and 5th grade growth. Islands High School is recognized for high school growth. Isle of Hope K-8 School is recognized for 5th and 7th grade growth, 6th grade gateway growth as well. Marsh Point Elementary School is recognized for 3rd grade gateway growth and 4th and 5th grade growth. New Hampstead K-8 School is recognized for 4th, 7th, and 8th grade growth and 6th grade gateway growth. Pooler Elementary School is recognized for 3rd grade gateway growth. Pulaski Elementary School is recognized for 3rd grade gateway growth and 5th grade growth. Savannah Arts Academy is recognized for high school achievement. Savannah Classical Academy, one of our charter schools, is recognized for 3rd grade gateway growth, 4th grade growth, and 7th grade achievement. And finally, Savannah Early College High School is recognized for high school growth.
Well done.
And with that, I'll yield the agenda back to our board chair.
Mr. Hediger.
Thank you, Mr. Board President. As we continue along on your agenda, we enter into your Board of Education matters. Number of policy first readers here for the board to review and consider. We have item 6.01, which is Board Policy CE, School Superintendent. This is a 4-year review. Primary changes here, added some cleanup language just for better clarity. But one of the primary components you'll see is some language that was stricken to more clearly align us with statutory language that stipulates the Board of Education's role in the hiring of personnel and reassignment of personnel on the recommendation of the superintendent. This is a first read.
All right, Ms. Grabowski, and then Dr. Hoskins-Brown.
This is very minor, but in the 3rd paragraph, where it says required by the board or the laws of the state, should that not be an and?
We will take a look at that for I'm sorry, which sentence is that again?
In the third paragraph, the first sentence, it's in the first half of the second line, but it's the first sentence, where required by the board or the laws of the state. Just wonder if it should be and/or or and.
Yes, we will.
Just take a
Your
look.
point is well taken. I'm struggling to find a moment where the board requirements would not be in alignment with state.
Well, I am as well.
So that would actually illustrate your point. So we will go back and look at it again from a legal standpoint. I'm quite sure "and" is the word.
but I think so too. Thank you.
Dr. Hoskins-Brown?
Thank you. I have two questions about edits. One is about the last sentence of paragraph 3, where the language "to update the board no later than its regular meeting" is being stricken. Can you explain the rationale?
So the intent here was to align the policy language with actual practice. We have emergency situations where something may be happening at a school, and we have communication protocols that are primarily done in today's world as most practically possible, so the board is aware rather than waiting to another board meeting. So it hasn't been a common practice where we would come back unless requested officially by the board to do a full-scale type of presentation at a next regularly scheduled meeting.
It has been the practice that even if there have been informal communications, that there's a statement about whatever has occurred at the next meeting. It may not necessarily be a formalized report, but striking this language indicates that there may be something that was communicated in informal channels that doesn't find its way to a meeting, and then that kind of reduces transparency to the public that's not privy to our other communication channels.
Certainly not the effort to reduce transparency rather than align to existing practice. If it is the will of the board that a statement is made at a following meeting, that language can certainly be left.
Well, I just want to be clear, the current practice is that we do say something at the board meeting. It's not, we do both. We currently do both. We don't necessarily put together a full report, but we do mention if there's something that has occurred. We do mention it either in the superintendent's report or in some form. We don't, I don't see the need, I don't see that we need to strike that sentence.
Ms. Grabowski?
The way that I read that, it says not later than its next meeting. It's the timing. It's not that it's announced in the next meeting, because we receive updates from the superintendent all the time via email or text about things that have transpired in the district.
Exactly. That's why I don't know why we need to delete it.
Okay. But I think it's more of a timing thing than a public announcement, the way that, because it says not later than. But I'm fine with leaving it, but just for.
Exactly. Since it doesn't affect what we're doing, that's why I want to know why we need to delete it.
Okay.
And then the second item is the personnel to be employed and/or terminated. In the 5th paragraph, we're deleting "and/or terminated will be recommended by the superintendent." Why are we deleting that? Because it
So
all
that's
happens in the same action.
Yes, ma'am. So that is the actual onus of much of the revisions that occurred in this particular one. And that's really based on statutory language where it does indicate that the role of the board is to approve those who are to be employed and/or assigned by the governing board on recommendation of its executive officers. So that's 20-211A. So we
Right.
took the word "terminated" out of that because it is not explicitly listed that way in statutory language.
But you didn't put in "assigned" from the statutory language.
Later on in the policy, you do see components in there that talk about the, if there are changes or roles or recommendations in roles, and that would be provided to the board as informed.
I hear what you're telling me is you're changing this to align with statutory language, but you're cutting and pasting statutory language the way that you want, and you're not citing the statute in the document. So that's why all of this looks preferential to me and not statutory. So that's just my feedback on the first read. If it's going to be changed to be statutory, just pull like we do in other policies. put the statutory language there, put in quotation marks, put the citation, and then we know it's statutory. But as it is, it just looks like we're wordsmithing it. So I know that I'm one voice, so other board members have an opportunity to talk about it. We'll see what it looks like at the next reading.
Anyone else? All right. And this is a first read.
Yes, sir. So all feedback is being taken into considerations, and we'll make modifications and bring it back for the board's final approval, which would be the December 18th board meeting.
Perfect.
So moving along in your agenda, item 6.02, this is Board Policy AA, School District Legal Status. Very minimal change here in referencing the district here. All the other language stands as reviewed for the board's final consideration. This is a first read again, however, would come back December 18th.
Dr. Howard Hall.
So do we plan on changing our logo from SCCPSS since it's
No, ma'am.
Savannah-Chatham County Public School System as opposed to Savannah-Chatham County Public School District?
So no, we are not planning on changing the logo at all.
Yeah, okay. So back to my original question. So why are we doing it?
So remember this, the language remains as operating as the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System. So there's no change there. The reference to the system, which the Board of Public Education is the way this reads as the district as a whole. So we are not referencing the county-wide school system. We're referencing the district as a whole. You often hear us use language of referring to the school system as the district, but the official recognition of the board doing business as the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System remains as written.
Once again, first reading.
Yes, sir, first read. So final copy will come back December 18th.
Hang on one second. Dr. Watts.
I just want to make sure that I've captured clarity around Dr. Hoskins-Brown comment. She said, why are we doing it? But what is the feedback that you would like us to consider for this? I understand you want the why we're doing it, but that's not going to inform.
Why I'm asking the why?
That's not going to inform how the policy's written.
Oh, okay.
So is there a change you want us to make to the written format? And then we can also give you the why as a separate.
I just, you know, when we get these resolutions, it says, or recommendations, it says pursuant to our policy review. That means we're obligated to review our policies.
Right.
That's one thing. We have to read it and look at it to be responsible in our jobs. Then the administration and usually the attorney looks at it and says, this needs to be changed. Okay. And normally there's a why. And sometimes there's no change. And so where here it says district versus system, to me, system was all inclusive. I didn't see the district see system as being more restrictive than district. I was just asking, is there some reason that we're spending time, you know, doing it?
So the language change did come from Board Attorney Holliday. And seeing that reference often, as I indicated, that we do refer to ourselves interchangeably as district versus system, and seeing that this is the first cadence of that word in that particular sentence in referring to this agency as a whole as the district, we agreed with that.
Okay.
So again, to the purview of the board, if the board is not comfortable with the usage of that word there, it doesn't really change the meaning of the language as it is set forth.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that. I have great faith in Mr. Holliday's guidance. So to me, that's just the simple answer is that the board attorney was asked that we make that change for consistency.
Okay.
Thank you.
But there's no change you need to the written. Okay, got it.
Continuing.
Thank you, sir. Item 6.03, this is Board Policy BBAA, This is election of board officers. Again, this is a 4-year review coming to you as a first reader. You'll see this one, again, changes were done primarily for alignment to statutory language, which speaks to the organization of county boards, its chairperson and secretary. So the board has historically, the first meetings of its year, elected officers, and this language cleans up the policy read to align with that statutory components as written, because you'll see the stricken language in the reference to board secretary and assistant secretary is what has been taken out to align with that statutory language, because technically the secretary of the board is the superintendent. Now you'll see language that was provided in here, which again was provided by Board Attorney Holliday, as a way to also say that the board, through the superintendent through the board, can also assign staff to do particular secretarial duties as determined as needed by the board. So this cleans up the language in there and takes us away from what theoretically was a ceremonial, if you will, election of a board secretary, which was already a hired position. First read.
Mr. Johnson.
I just want to say this actually makes the January meeting a whole lot easier, and I'm just sorry that I'm not going to be able to actually go through this without having to elect people that don't actually need to be elected as a board officer.
Okay. Anyone else? Right. Continue.
Thank you. We'll bring the final back to the board, December 18th meeting. Your next item, 6.04, Board Policy DB. Minimal changes here. This is really to more clearly align the structure of the board working through the superintendent. So you'll see that action item of the board requiring and taking actions of ensuring fiscal policies, this is written that the board through this policy authorizes the superintendent to do so.
Continue.
That concludes our policy reviews for this board meeting. Again, these are all first reads, and we'll take all of the board's feedback and commentary into consideration for your final adoption during the December 18th Board of Public Education meeting. 6.05 is your proclamation for American Education Week.
It is my pleasure to read the proclamation identifying American Education Week, that is November 18th through 22nd, 2024. So therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of Public Education for the City of Savannah and the County of Chatham, do hereby proclaim the week November 18 through 22, 2024 as the 102nd Annual Observance of American Education Week. Aforesigned by Mr. Roger Moss, Board President, and Denise Watts, Superintendent.
To accept the proclamation. Moved and seconded. All in favor? And we have our educator here today. That's next.
Moving along in your agenda, item 6.06 is your proclamation for Retired Educators Day.
I am so proud and honored to read this proclamation, Retired Educators Day in Georgia proclamation. Therefore, be it resolved that the Savannah-Chatham County Board of Public Education does hereby proclaim November 3rd, 2024 as Retired Educators Day and encourages all citizens to recognize the lasting contributions of retired educators all throughout the month of November. Here is signed the President of the Board, Mr. Roger Moss, as well as our school superintendent, Dr. Denise Watts.
I'll accept the motion. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Now, we have several retired educators here. Please come forward.
Oh. That's right. Dr. Howard. I feel like walking around.
Thank you so much for all that you've done.
Thanks for everything.
Thank you so much for your service. Well, I heard I had missed Tristan Sunday.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ma'am.
Finally, on your Board of Education matters, we have item 6.07, which is the board's annual legislative priorities document. The Board of Education did discuss the legislative priorities during the October board meeting. The language to the priorities have been updated and provided for the board's review and posted publicly to the board docs for the public's review. So this is now the official action of the board to adopt its legislative priorities. Therefore, be it resolved that the board does now hereby adopt the 2025 legislative priorities for the use as a framework to advance the needs of the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System to further ensure a high-quality education is provided for every student we serve.
I'll accept a motion. Moved and seconded. Discussion? Mr. Grabowski, Mr. Johnson.
I just want to take just a brief moment for the benefit of those in the audience and who may be watching online. Of course, the full document is available on our website, but I think this is a really important role that the board serves as the elected officials for the school district and working with our legislative delegation in order to advocate for what we need as a district to make sure that our children are first and foremost in receiving the best education. So we have two main legislative priorities that I just want to cover quickly. The first is student success, to invest in early childhood education, which includes increased appropriations for the support of pre-K programs to position students for educational success. Many people don't realize that our pre-K teachers do not receive the same state funding as our other teachers. We make up that difference here locally as a district because we understand their value. Would love for the state to recognize that as well and fund it appropriately. We are also urging the legislature to change the age requirements to right now, students do not have to come to school until they're age 6. We all know that that does not set our students up for the best success, so we would love to see that minimum age requirement lowered, and then on the flip side, to see them remain in school through their 17th birthday. The second main legislative priority is in innovative funding. And in that, we are urging increased allocations for school social workers. Right now, the state funds just 17 social workers for our entire district. Again, we supplement that here locally to meet the needs of our students. And then finally, to revamp the QBE formula, which was established in 1985 and is woefully inadequate for today's needs, and also to look at increasing the flexibility for the use of eSPLOST. So those are our legislative priorities. As you are speaking with your state legislators, we encourage you to echo those priorities so that we can have a stronger voice working together for our students. And I also want to add that as the board's legislative liaison, I've attended both of the Chamber of Commerce legislative meetings that they have had, as has Mr. Moss, and want to share appreciation to the Chamber and to the business community for the support of education. At our second meeting, actually had completely unprompted one of the business members say, I just learned that our students don't have to be in school until the first grade, and she was absolutely flabbergasted. And I said, so are we. So we'd love to see that change, and the more voices that we can have from across the board, from business, from parents, families, all community members, the more we can work together for positive change. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson.
Like I've done every year, QBE, QBE, QBE. And I appreciate Ms. Grabowski for going over all of these in a little bit of summary and detail. However, every single one of these things can be solved if they fix QBE. So, I mean, I would much rather, I appreciate only having 4, unlike some years where we have 4 pages of stuff. However, every single thing in this document can be fixed if we can just push QBE. We all know QBE is outdated. We're underfunded, even though everybody up in Atlanta says that we are fully funded QBE. Yeah, they fully fund at the current formula, but the formula is older than some of our own teachers. So we need to just go and push for QBE reform, not just change it and fix it and tweak it around the edges and add things here and take a couple of things out there. What we need to do with the formula is we need to take it, throw it in the shredder, burn it, and then throw it in the air and see where it goes and start over. I mean, the QBE formula is messed up. We all know it is. It doesn't put in enough. It doesn't give the school districts enough to be able to support the charter schools. It doesn't give enough so we can even support our own teachers. So we need to make sure that's why QBE is so important. That's why I've been fighting for it to change it for the past 8+ years. And I just wish that we could, this body here in Chatham County had a better, I don't know, a better voice, our own lobbyists to go to Atlanta to fight for these things that actually affects us down here in Chatham County.
Anyone else? Dr. Howard Hall.
I'd just like to reiterate on 1B. We hear it all the time. Students should be reading on grade level at the end of 3rd grade. They should not be learning to read, but reading to learn. Well, some 3rd graders are 8 years old. So if they don't have to start the school until they're 6, that gives them 2 years for us to ensure that they're reading on grade level. So this is very dear to my heart.
Anyone else? I will add to this, and thank you, Ms. Grabowski, for this work. This is great. I will chime in on the QBE. Yes, it hopefully needs to be upgraded. One thing that we discovered when we were doing our SLP audit is that SLPs are not in QBE. Let me say that again. Speech and language pathologists are not included in QBE. One of our greatest needs is not included in QBE. They have a general sped category, but specifically for SLPs, that is not included. So public, please let your legislators know how important this is. Okay, anyone else? All right, all in favor of adopting this? Yes. Yes, been moved and seconded. I'm sorry, I'll end discussion. Now, all in favor? Right. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. I will accept a motion to approve our consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved and seconded, moved by Mr. Smith, seconded by Dr. Hoskins Brown. All in favor? Okay. All opposed? All abstaining? Thank you. Next, I'll have a motion to approve the minutes of the, sorry. Oh, I'm ready to get out of here. I'm sorry. Next, financials.
Good afternoon, everyone. The financials that we're sharing with you this month is for the month of September, and we're at 25% of this fiscal school year. Our general fund revenues, our property tax collections are up from this time last year. We're at $28.8 million compared to $23.2 million last year. Our total revenues are higher than this same time last year. We're at 13.22% of our budget. Our general expenditures through September, our salary and benefits are on track for this point of the year. Energy expenditures are higher than last year at $2.6 million compared to $2.53 last year. Our annual energy budget was increased by $700,000 this year. Overall, our total expenditures are running lower than last year at 15.24% of our budget compared to 16.24% last year. All of our other funds, there's nothing to report on those. Everything's going well with those. So we have no significant concerns in any of the other funds. Have any questions?
Questions?
Okay, thank you.
No questions?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Move on.
Okay. We have 8.02 budget transfer, E/4 FF&E. The Capital Projects Department requests the following budget transfer within E/4 budget. The fund was established to purchase classroom furniture for the new and renovated schools completed in E4. However, purchases are being made within the budgets for each school. The funds in this account are being transferred to unallocated from where they can be transferred to projects to offset classroom furniture purchases. We have a total of $10 million that we're transferring from multiple FF&E accounts to specific programs unallocated. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approves the budget transfer as noted.
Okay, I'll accept the motion. Second, and I know we have some discussion on this. So, Dr. Hoskins-Brown. You okay? Okay.
Thank you.
Dr. Hoskins-Brown.
My question about the transfer is that we don't often hear that sites have extra money in their on-site budget to pay for things that are budgeted from other accounts. So, this might be an operational question or something like that, but why are they not using the eSPLOS money, and why are they spending their site money on furniture when they have it budgeted here? Like, I would never spend my money if I could spend somebody else's money first on furniture.
This eSPLOS fund was specifically created for the schools which were going to be built or renovated in E4. But when we were planning, everybody forgot about this account. And when they were saying that, okay, we have this project coming up, like, for an example, DEH complex. So all the FF&E was bought under that project expense or the project budget. And again, when we doing that for me renovation right now, the furniture will be bought under the project budget for me. So this fund was never used all this time. So we decided to move it back to unallocated so that we can use it for places where we have needs.
So you mentioned For-Me, so that means that For-Me used some of their facility, some of their funds to buy furniture?
No.
Okay.
For me is also using eSPLOS money to buy furniture.
Okay, so I'm focusing on the part of this resolution that said purchases are being made with the budgets for each school, within the budgets for each school. So are those budgets eSPLOS 4 budgets, construction budgets for the school?
Yes, ma'am.
And not general fund budgets?
Not general fund budgets.
Okay, and why aren't these funds just being applied for something else that those schools need rather than pulling it out to create something new to buy with it?
So
Why are we not replacing, since we forgot to spend it, why are we not reimbursing the accounts that we spent from rather than doing something new with the money?
we right now have needs in other active projects. And like, to give you an example of, again, For-Me had 4.6 million allocated when E4 was planned. Right now, the renovation is costing us 14.5 million. So once you see other transfers happening right now too. And we had Bloomingdale as a renovation, but we are building a new Bloomingdale, costs a lot more money. So what we are doing is all the funds which we are not using, bring them to unallocated so they can be reassigned to the projects where needed.
Okay, I understand the thought process of what's happening. What I'm wondering is, why don't you just transfer it to the account you're going to use it for, rather than move it to unallocated? It is a very large sum of money to put no descriptor on. It makes me uncomfortable to just put it in. I would love for you to create a $10 million account for me to transfer stuff into for stuff that I might need later. It's concerning for me. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson, and then Mr. Kaczmar.
So I'm going to ask a very blunt question. Who lost or misplaced or did not realize we had $10 million? Was it capital projects or finance?
Bill, do you know that answer? No, I have no idea.
Okay, well, that at least it's honest on that. But that's what's disconcerting to me. I understand what you're saying about moving the money to unallocated because it was going to be spent anyway through eSPLOS money with these projects. Whatever was not used in a project, it was going to go to unallocated to help with other projects. I get that. But what concerns me is that we had $10 million in eSPLOS money that somebody conveniently forgot about, or didn't allocate properly, or didn't use it the money properly, and that's what That's the concerning thing, because if it's going to happen with East Bluff's money, what's going on with other money for other projects within that? I feel like there should be some sort of stopgap between finance and capital projects, but I don't feel like the right hand's talking to the left hand.
Mr. Kaczmarek.
I'm going to gently suggest that my fellow board members go look at every previous board meeting where we've transferred money from unallocated to specific projects. Every East Bluffs project that where we've built or renovated a school has had an FF&E specific line item. And some of them also have specific, athletics or a specific line item for athletics. But our East Bluffs 4 has a big bucket of money for general FF&E purchases, HVAC and roof repairs. And every time we finish a project, any unallocated money goes back into that East Bluffs unallocated fund, because what we approved 2 years before East Bluffs 4 was approved at a $50 million budget is now $85 million. So every extra dollar goes into an unallocated account. And so we finished the Formy project. We finished that entire project. Okay, so it's not like let's find something else to spend that duplicative FF&E money on. We've done that project. So if we save money, or if the contractor returns money to the district, it goes into unallocated and we use it to pay where inflation has increased the cost of existing projects so we can complete them. And almost every board meeting, almost every month, we move money from unallocated to a specific project, but we can't go forward on some of these projects until we know that there's a reserve of funds there. So that fund is the unallocated fund in E4, in E3, in E2 has historically had money put into it. And then once we know we need another $3 million to finish the wing at Beach, we go and look and see, do we have that money in unallocated? And then we assign it. And we've done that every East Bluffs, and we've done it almost every month.
Yes, we have. But we also had a staff member present to us what projects that money was going to. We didn't just get an allocation. We had a motion for an amount to go to unallocated. And if we ask the question, where is that money going to be spent? They say, you're going to see an action coming this meeting or next meeting with the projects that we have already identified. And that's why I asked the question, where is it going to be allocated? And I'm not getting that answer. I don't have to go back and look at the meetings to know that experience.
Okay, and I would suggest go back and look at the meetings, because and I'm not going to argue with you. You don't like the semantics of the words. I'm explaining that we historically move money that we save or get returned to an unallocated fund. Sometimes that same meeting, it then goes from unallocated to a specific budget item. But many times we get a return to the district of funds from the general contractor because we've closed out an account, and we don't allocate it at that meeting. Both things happen. I get it that you don't like the semantics, but I don't see.
No. To be clear, it's not the semantics. It's
Dr. Hoskins-Brown, I am speaking now. Let me finish. Then you can respond.
Okay. Well, we'll do that. You are
Okay, I guess I can't finish, but you go ahead and
no, you
do
can't,
what you want to do.
You're misrepresenting what I said. I asked where it was going.
Both of you are taking people to task and playing gotcha with something, and it's just not right, and I don't like it. So.
You're getting personally offended by something not directed to you. I am
I'm
happy.
standing up for somebody.
Okay, well then next time you want to do that, don't abstain from a consent agenda.
What does that have to do with these specific budget agenda items that are agenda items? This has nothing to do with it.
Okay, guys. Anyone else? So I'm going to call a question. All in favor? All opposed? All right. Thank you. Move on.
RFP 21.03, backup generator installation at 11 district sites, Phase 2. The owner of this is Operations. Backup generators and automatic transfer switches will be installed at the schools listed below during Phase 2. Georgia Power Company will provide construction, supervision, inspection, labor, materials, tools, construction equipment, and subcontracted items as needed for the execution and completion of the installation of the backup generators and automatic transfer switches. The Phase 2 schools are as follows: Brock Elementary, Coastal Middle, Garden City Elementary, Hurd Elementary, Hodge Elementary, Hubert Middle, Islands High, Juliet Low Elementary, May Howard Elementary, Whitney Administrative Complex Boardroom, A.B. Williams Elementary. The scope of the work includes a backup generator and automatic transfer switches for the freezers and coolers for critical food preservation from any loss of power at school sites. Staff is requesting approval to award the contract at a total cost of $1,634,550 to Georgia Power Company. The funding source was from multiple accounts for East Blush. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the contract award to Georgia Power Company for backup generators and automatic transfer switches, which will be installed at Brock, Coastal, Garden City, Hurd, Hodge, Hubert, Islands, Juliet Low, May Howard, Whitney Complex, and A.B. Williams Elementary for the freezer and coolers for critical food preservation from any loss of power. The total cost of the project is $1,634,550.
Been moved and seconded, moved by Dr. Brinkman, seconded by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? Dr. Brinkman.
That's fine. At a future CIC, it doesn't need to be the next, could we just have a state of the district, not system, on where we have generators, where we need generators? And I'm guessing all of these, except for Whitney, are for food. Whitney, I'm not thinking we're storing a bunch of food here. And I would love to, I don't want to know, but how much did we lose, you know? Because this is money to make sure we don't lose food in the future. So if we have those numbers to kind of offset the cost, yeah. So thank you.
Okay. Ms. Grabowski?
I'm just curious, I see this is an RFP. Did we receive any other proposals aside from Georgia Power, or is this?
We already have an agreement with Georgia Power. We are doing it under that.
Okay.
This was RFP a couple of years ago, and
Okay.
yes.
So it was part of that. Okay,
Yes.
that's where I was making.
That's
okay.
right.
So it was under the existing RFP that was issued.
Right.
Awarded
Exactly.
previously. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for clarification.
Okay. Ms. Hall?
Matra, are we automatically adding generators to all of our buildings going forward, our new replacement buildings? That'll be a part of the,
Yes, ma'am. Any new
Scope of-
rebuild or renovation will automatically get that.
okay.
The
thank
reason these schools are listed right now
Yeah, I
are
see.
not on that list.
you. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Kashmar?
I'll support this. I just want us, though, to assess if, to the extent any of these schools are being changed or facilities are being closed, or we might divest ourselves, like Whitney, for example, that's still up in the air. Let's not spend the money unless we have to.
The reason Whitney is added, that we had an evening meeting here one time and we lost power. Everything had to be stopped. And it is going to be a very small unit so that we don't have to stop meetings. Electronics will work. And once we sell it, we'll take that with us.
Okay. Ms. Grabowski?
I do wonder, given the dollar amount, why we didn't put this out to a separate RFP.
we already have a contract with them. That's it, and all those services were included in that. That's why we didn't have to do it again. With Georgia Power
What I'm
for
saying
LED,
is-
HVAC.
With a cost of $1.6 million, could we have received a more competitive bid if it was put out to bid and not done underneath the existing contract?
Actually, these kind of services are not provided generally by lots of vendors who can handle large volume of these things. And since we already they already did phase one for us, so we were continuing with that contract.
All right, any other questions? All right, I'll call question. All in favor? Wonderful. Thank you very much. Next.
This is the interfund budget transfer for those backup generator installation for the multiple sites. On March 6, 2024, the board approved the award of contract to Georgia Power Company under RFP 21-3 Energy Conservation Services contract for Phase 1 of the backup generator, and automatic transfer switches at various schools. The recommended Phase 2 schools and education site are as follows: Brock, Coastal, Garden City, Hurd, Hodge, Hubert, Juliet Low, May Howard, Whitney Complex, and A.B. Williams. Staff is requiring approval to award the contract at a total cost of $1,634,550 to Georgia Power Company. Staff are seeking to use staffing reserved in the general fund to begin the scope of the work. The summary of the proposed budget adjustments are outlined on the agenda, moving from the general fund to the facilities repairs. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the budget interfund transfer shown above in the amount of $1,634,550 to install backup generators and automatic transfer switches for Phase 2 of the project.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, there being no discussion, all in favor? Thank you.
East Splash 4, J.E. Smith Elementary School renovations, Balford Beatty Construction, CMR, change order number 1, Montgomery Street Swing Site. On August 21st, 2024, the board awarded RFP C24-5 East Splash CMR services for J.G. Smith Elementary School renovations to Balford Beatty Construction, LLC. Included with this award was authorization to expand a maximum of $30,000 for pre-construction costs and up to $3,099,092 for CMR overhead costs and fee. The CMR has received pricing on the work required at the Montgomery Swing site, which is the first component of the project. The cost of the work at this site is $9,801,481. Staff has reviewed the costs and the recommendations that the board approve the start of the work at the Montgomery Swing Site School and payment of up to $9,801,481 within the GMP for the work, and the superintendent supports this recommendation. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the start of the work at the Montgomery Swing Site School site and pay up to $9,801,481 within the GMP to Balford Beatty Construction LLC for the work in RFP C24-05 East Splosh CMR services for J.E. Smith Elementary School renovations.
Been moved. Moved and seconded. Good. Any discussion?
Just out of curiosity, when looking at this project that's going to take place at the swing site, currently this is a swing site with us investing $9.8 million. My question is, could it put us in a position to have that campus become a school again, or will it be usable for the purposes of a school with an investment that large?
So currently, we are doing the renovation so that J.G. Smith can move in. Then we have several schools planned, move in, move out, as our philosophy has changed when we do a large renovation. Yes, it can become a standalone school too after we are done with renovation.
I support this because this campus is in the 5th District, and it will certainly better that campus. So I'm in favor of this. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Ms. Grabowski?
But as a swing site, it benefits all of our district schools, correct,
I'm
sir?
aware, but because it's an eyesore in the 5th District, yeah.
Okay, there being no more discussion, all in favor? I like this. All right, thank you.
Furniture, fixture, and equipment for Bloomingdale Elementary School, East Blos 4. The owner of this is Operations. Furniture, fixtures, and equipment is needed for the new Bloomingdale Elementary School. Bid C 19-05, furniture, fixtures, and equipment annual contract will be used for some of the purchases as well as the Georgia statewide contracts with various awarded vendors. The cost is expected not to exceed $1,557,609. The funding source on this is E4. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the purchase of furniture, fixtures, and equipment for the new Bloomingdale Elementary School using the approved annual contract as well as the Georgia statewide contracts for an amount not to exceed $1,557,609.
It's been moved, seconded. Any discussion? Dr. Hoskins-Brown?
Yes, can you tell me about this funding source code? There are a couple of new accounts as the funding source, and that's what I was trying to get to in my previous question. I don't have that answer yet, but I think maybe someone has it. Is this a funding source that's being created from the previous transfer?
No, that's the project number.
Okay.
In East Blos 4, all of the projects that we work on in all of our East Blos, each one of them have a project number. And
Okay.
with this being a new school, that NS means new school, and then with the new there, it's just a new line.
Okay, so the funding, this FFE is coming from another pot of money and not the 10 million from the unallocated. There's another pot of money that the Bloomingdale FFE is coming from.
Yeah, no, this is within the project, and that's what.
Within the project.
Yeah, and that's what Mr. Basra was trying to explain before. In all of our projects, like for the renovations and for the new schools, there's a line within each one of those projects that's for furniture and equipment.
Right.
So that's why that 10 million wasn't used before, because there's money already within the projects for the furnitures.
Right, so in this case, I got that.
Okay.
And I get what you're saying now. So this is the account, this is the line in this particular project that was not utilized in previous projects. This is the money this is assigned for Bloomingdale to have FFE.
Correct.
Got it, okay, thank you.
Questions? All right, all in favor? Yes. Next.
Furniture, fixture, and equipment for Windsor Forest High School, East Blos 4. The owner of this is Operations. Furniture, fixtures, and equipment is needed for the new Windsor Forest High School. Bid C 19-05, furniture, fixtures, and equipment annual contract will be used for some of the purchases as well as the Georgia statewide contracts with various awarded vendors. The cost is expected not to exceed $1,985,827. and the funding source is that project. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the purchase of furniture, fixtures, and equipment for the new Windsor Forest High School using the approved annual contract bid C-19-05, as well as Georgia statewide contracts for an amount not to exceed $1,985,827.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions?
Yes, does this include a drawbridge?
You know what? You know what?
We need a celebrity.
All in favor? All in favor? Without the drawbridge. Right. Continue.
East Blush 4, Windsor Forest High School FF&E budget transfer. The Capital Projects Department requests the following budget transfer within E4 project budget. The funds budgeted for the FF&E are currently in the purchase of equipment account and the classroom office equipment furniture account. These accounts are to be used to purchase the FF&Es that cost $5,000 or more per unit. The FF&E that will be purchased for the site is $5,000 or less per unit. So the funding source will be within the project, moving it from the classroom, office equipment and furniture to the expendable furniture lines. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the budget transfer as noted.
Moved, seconded by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor? Next.
East Blush 4, Pulaski Elementary Addition, Balford Beatty, change order number 4. On June 7th, 2023, the board awarded GMP of $29,943,030 for RFP C-22-09, Construction Manager at Risk, CMR, for the Pulaski Elementary K-8 conversion to Balford Beatty Construction LLC. 2 additional areas in the scope of work have been identified for the remaining contracted funds. First, a modification to the site plan to provide an asphalt drive around the building to be used as a car drop-off and pickup to avoid lines on the main road, and as requested by the fire marshal. In conjunction with this change, additional parking, sidewalks, and a canopy were added along with a new monument sign, landscaping, and fencing changes. The second included ALC controls retrofit in the existing building, which will put the entire campus under one temperature control monitoring system utilized by the district. The total cost for this additional work is $1,693,483. This cost will be allocated out of the CMR contingency, so there is no change to the contract GMP. However, this change order, being over $50,000, requires board approval in accordance with board policy. The description is change order number 4, drives, parking, and site changes, $1,693,483. Staff have reviewed the proposed change order and recommends approval, and the superintendent supports this recommendation. Funding for this change will be allocated out of the project budget, and no budget transfer is required. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve change order number 4 in the amount of $1,693,483 $693,483 to be funded by the GMR contingency to Balfour Beatty Construction LLC for the construction of Pulaski K-8 conversion.
Accept a motion? Oh, it's moved and seconded. Discussion? I just have one question. I mean, anytime I see change orders, my immediate question is why? Is there anything, is this something that just came up?
So when the school was opened, when school was planned, the renovation was planned or conversion to K-8. We didn't expect, or nobody thought about the Largo Tibbet will be closed at that time, and lots of teachers were transferred to the school, and students came. And that were not planned originally in the renovation or expansion process. So it created the need for extra parking. And when we were there at the ribbon cutting ceremony, we noticed long lines and all that. So we realized that we have to make some changes to make it better for the school.
Okay, I just heard something about the fire marshal.
So, yeah, fire marshal also recommended that when all the cars and buses were lined up, if there's a fire, it was not easy exit out quickly. So they recommended put a road around the school so that we don't create a rush out there and we don't obstruct the traffic.
Okay. Anyone else? All in favor? Thank you very much. Continue.
Good afternoon.
Good
So we are
afternoon.
going to, thank you. So we're going to talk about 8.10, Schumann Elementary School Closure Attendance Zone Modification. So this is in alignment with Strategic Priority 4, Efficient, Effective, and Equitable Resource Stewardship. SCCPSS strives to maintain consistent attendance zones with limited disruption to student movement, balanced against enrollment trends, school capacity goals, and facility conditions. As part of the district's commitment to resource stewardship in the management and planning for facility improvement and efficient use, Schumann Elementary School is proposed for closure. The Schumann Elementary facility was constructed in 1963 based on current assessments utilizing a Facility Condition Index, or FCI rating. The building is listed as unsatisfactory. Based on concerns for the building life cycle, renovation cost and upkeep, and enrollment levels, district administration recommends the closure of the school and rezoning of students to nearby A.B. Williams Elementary, the School of Humanities at Juliet Low, and adding the addition of the students back to Henderson E. Early Learning Center, or Early Learning Center at Henderson E. Formey. So for the proposed year of school year 25-26, Schumann Elementary would be closed. Henderson Formey would be the grades of pre-K through first grade. A.B. Williams would be second through fifth grade. Juliet Low would be pre-K through fifth grade. Current boundary lines have been reviewed. The modified boundary lines meet the district's goals to ensure that students are learning in modern facilities, considers family and student movement for future growth, improves district facility utilization, and strengthens the early learning continuum between the Early Learning Center at Formey and A.B. Williams. This information has been provided in advance and was posted publicly. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the proposed attendance zone modifications to account for the closure of Schumann Elementary, modify attendance zones for Early Learning Center at Henderson E. Formey, A.B. Williams, and the School of Humanities at Juliet Low, and adjust school configurations as detailed in the agenda item. Thus be it further resolved that the superintendent shall implement a transition plan for the identified students to attend the newly assigned schools.
Accept the motion. Moved by Dr. Hoskins Brown, seconded by Dr. Howard Hall. Discussion. Dr. Hoskins Brown, then Dr. Howard Hall.
Thank you. I want to thank the parents, the families who came out in March, and the ones who came out again in October. I want to thank the staff who've put all the effort into really thinking about these changes. When you're closing a school, it's not just representing a change for a family, it's representing a change for an entire community. It's a statement that's being made to that community. So when we come here and we give you dates and we give you data and we tell you how the decision is being made, it's not us in any way trying to overshadow your feelings of loss or grief of the school community that you were in. So I just want you to know that we recognize that. I also really want to say thank you to the principals who got together and had a conversation after the March meeting and said, how can we accommodate the desire to maintain community? Families were very clear about that, and teachers were clear about that. Schumann teachers liked being together, and they liked being with their students, and they were very clear about the desire to continue their learning community, and that led to an immediate conversation after the March meeting, and also subsequent work by the staff. And so while I believe at the meeting that we had on the 28th, there was a level of understanding and acceptance. I wanted to acknowledge that. I'll be supporting this recommendation, and I'll also be supporting the families and the staff who make this transition as we change to these grade configurations. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Howard Hall.
Kudos to everything that Dr. Hoskins Brown just said. And I was happy to know that we did decide to make some revisions to the grade configurations for Williams from 3 to 5 to 2 to 5 to give them a chance to work with those second graders to ensure that they will be reading on grade level and them just not starting at third grade, not knowing their prior learning from pre-K to second. So thank you for making those revisions.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Wonderful. Thank you.
Chairman Moss,
Yes.
I asked that the next items be pulled. I'd like to make a motion that they all be considered at one item, if you don't mind.
Oh, I was about to suggest that.
Okay, I'm so glad
in
I
my
am
head.
aligned with your thinking. I would like to move that items 8.11 to 8.16 be considered in one motion.
It's not been moved and seconded. All in favor? Okay. All right. So
I just have one, I guess one
Yeah.
of them needs to be read.
Yes.
And then I can ask my question.
yeah. Go ahead.
So I will read the first one. The Capital Projects Department requests the following budget transfer within the East Plus 4 budget. No work is scheduled for this project, East Plus 4, so designated funds are being returned to unallocated for other use. And this one is for Coastal Georgia Comprehensive Academy renovation budget transfer.
Thank you very much. So I asked that this be pulled because I just wanted more information about no work being scheduled and what the plan for the unallocated amount was. I think that
Yes.
for these amounts, the dollar amounts on these are 2.7, 4.2, 21, and 4.8 million. I thought that they should be handled in a regular session so that the public can hear we are reallocating this, and this is what we think we may do. That's where I was trying to get with my previous question, and I'm hoping we might be able to get some headway there, or maybe that's something that you can provide at another time.
So I will give you one example. Right now, Georgetown K-8 is for bid out there. And we also already realized that we don't have enough funds budgeted for it. So the reason now that E4 is about to end, so we are looking at all the funds everywhere and going to all the projects which need funds. you just saw an example of For Me from 4.6 to 14.5. And J.G. Smith, because we are building a new cafeteria, that need went beyond what we had budgeted. And Georgetown needs a new gym because it was an elementary school. And the renovation will be much bigger than what we planned at the beginning of E4. So normally when we put the funds, or in the past, we go through the FCI score and say that high score, give them a little bit more money, low score, give them less money. But when we go get a design professional, a project manager assigned to the project, they do the visits, they look at every detail. And also we have changed our philosophy a little bit, do everything at one shot instead of going back and forth again and again to the school. So the needs for those projects to be completed has become bigger. So even though if I remember, only 5 or 6 billion are allocated to Georgetown K-8. And we are also going to be renovating Largo Tibet along with that because Georgetown will move to Largo Tibet. So combining those two projects is going to be 30 million something. And so I have to have those funds. So the reason I'm moving them to unallocated is that when I have funds in there, when we have already bid it out, we know how much it's going to cost. I will come back and tell you, please let me use unallocated funds to this project to help me complete the project.
Okay, got it. That's great. So I get that. That makes sense. That's what I wanted to know is what we were moving it to, what projects were we anticipating using the funds for? What about the no work part? Like what, if I bump into somebody in the grocery store and there's no work done and we have this money left over, why? What's the simple explanation why?
No, money will not be left over because we have more needs than the money itself.
I mean from where you're pulling it.
Yes.
It's not needed from where it's being pulled, because why?
So the Coastal Georgia Comprehensive Academy is not using that building anymore. So that's one reason we are moving. Then Schumann, we had some 5 or 6 million. We are closing that.
Yes.
And then I'm moving from maintenance department. We are not building that school in E4, not rebuilding it for them in E4 because we use those funds for Bloomingdale and the need for Windsor Forest High, which went from 50 to 80 million. So, but we did not do all the budget transfers to begin with. So that's what we are trying to catch up right now so that we can finish all of E4 with 0-0 balance.
Thank you. That is very helpful. That's exactly what I wanted to know. And hopefully that some of that can be in the resolution because we don't need this or didn't do that. We are recommending that we make this motion for the purpose of fulfilling other blah, blah, blah. You know, that was the language I was looking for that I didn't see. But I'm very happy that you're able to answer my question. Thank you.
And thank you for the feedback. I will make sure that we write much better language next time.
Thank you.
No more discussion? All in favor? Woo-hoo. Okay. Next, we have our appearances by the public. I will, we welcome your appearance. We do have a time limit of 3 minutes. And first, we have Ms. Angelisa Bryant. Come on down. Come on down.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I need your help. My child needs your help. RTI has 4 tiers in the process. On March the 6th, 2024, my child was fast-tracked to Tier 3 in the RTI process. Assessment, screening, none. Diagnostics, none completed. Area of focus, behavior. The intervention form states, per parent request, On April 22nd, 2024, my child school again met to discuss my child's behavior. I was informed my child's homeroom teacher from the previous school year fast-tracked my child to Tier 3. According to the Georgia Department of Education, the RTI team should contact the student's parents to meet and to collect the details, information about their child in the process. On August the 1st, 2024, my child was placed in academic block remediation class without the notification to her parents. And why? We as parents do not receive any research-based plans and intervention. We were never given any documentation. I asked the question, why? No communication. I was informed by the lead RTI manager that we gave her verbal communication authorization to place our child in Tier 3 in academic block remediation. Per my request by FERPA, I requested to see all behavior records that was used to foster the track my child and to have her placed in academic block remediation. Guess what? No records for any behavior in 6th grade. My question to you is why? Why are our students being labeled and placed in the pipeline to prison? I come to ask for help. I believe in my board. I believe in the board and all the members. I am so proud of you. I listened today and you are very informed. All I want is for all 30,000 kids to have the same opportunity, to have parents to engage and to help, and to have all teachers and administrators to work together as a team. You guide the policies to make the district in compliance for state and federal regulations. I beg you to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rick Roney?
President Moss, board members, Dr. Watts. Last month, the school district and Chatham Education Alliance sponsored a very successful Literacy Week. The district sponsored 3 excellent events where Kareem Weaver spoke: donuts and decodables for parents at Schumann School, a community partnership event at the Lucas Theater, and a lunch and learn for staff, teachers, and principals at Savannah Tech. There was also an event with parents at Parents University. The district produced a film they showed at the Lucas Theater. I hope all of you have seen it. If not, I recommend it to you. I couldn't find it on the webpage, but I hope it's accessible so that the public can see it. I want to thank Stacy Taylor, Derek Butler, Shadra Nuziata, Sherry Goldman, Andrea Burkett, Stacy Jennings, Tamika Tribble, the whole team for their work and their success. It was an excellent week. The Chatham Educational Alliance also sponsored meetings for Kareem Weaver with Justice Unites Savannah Together, the Chamber of Commerce, Leadership Savannah Alumni Group, and a lunch with the NAACP president, thanks to Dr. Hoskins Brown. All of these organizations are excited about working together with us to advocate for literacy in Chatham County. We've made a lot of progress in the last year. The most interesting and exciting part of the week for me occurred at Schumann School. After the presentation to the parents, a small group of us observed 2 kindergarten classes. The teachers were using the new curricula and instructing children in phonemes and phonics. The children were sitting in a group on the floor with the teacher at the whiteboard. In one class, they were learning about the short I and the long I. Afterwards, the observing group gathered to debrief what they'd seen. The conclusion was the teachers were teaching well. They're using the curriculum and the science of reading. Kareem's assessment was that they were doing very well for 9 weeks into using the new methodology. There were also areas where the teachers could improve. The team made notes to follow up with the teachers. The 2 things that excited me were, 1, this was the actual implementation of the science of reading. We've talked about it for a year and a half. Here it was live and in color. The kids were learning to read. Second, the observation and coaching process that I observed is a critical part of this process. This is how teachers are going to improve. The teachers will get feedback, they'll improve, the teaching will be more efficient, we're on the right track. I recommend each of you as board members pick a school in your district and observe one of these teaching observation meetings sometime after the first of the year. This will take the literacy plan you've heard over the last year from an abstract level down to a very concrete action.
Thank you.
Kids are learning, this is going to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Raymond Watson.
Good afternoon. I want to start about Schumann. I actually started working here in Savannah at Schumann Elementary, and I love the shoe. Like, it was awesome. But anyway, I want to, been here many times. I want to make note that, as an employee, though, I'm still having to use a half a day, a personal day, in order to just appear here. But yet, if y'all invited me to appear here, I could use a professional leave or just come. But come here again to say the same thing again about how, I've tried to email and discuss about the cost, the zero cost that a teacher contract could do to show appreciation to teachers around this district. Every time I leave here, I get more and more teachers talking to me and asking me why I'm even coming. And if I get a response, and I basically say I get, my occasional thank you, or, it's legal or something. But I do believe I'm making progress with the mindset of teachers to believe that they do deserve better. That a zero-cost contract that just shows some respect to teachers, they do deserve that. And then I'm also here to talk about that in order to the contract, we go to letters trainings and stuff like that, which is great. I did a screening in my third grade class at the beginning of the year based off the letters training that I've went to. I think letters is amazing. However, then, and my screening at the beginning of the year showed that 43% of my third grade class could not identify all the letters of uppercase and lowercase. And I come up with a plan to try to address this. And then last week I get told I can't do that plan no more. And I'm stressing out that I am failing. I feel like I'm failing my kids, but I felt like it was working. But nobody asked to see, well, how does your literacy block that you came up with, how is it helping? Nobody cared about that. It was instead of one size glove fits all. And so my only option is that only thing I know, because I don't feel support from here or any administration type, is I'm just going to do what's asked. And when parents ask why my kid's not growing, I'm just going to say I'm doing what I'm told. The data shows that 43% of my kids do not know letters, but yet I'm told to teach a third grade passage to that, and I believe in pushing them. I believe in keeping them here. But what is a third grade kid going to do in the corner with a theater play on a third grade level, but they can't identify the letter J? What are they going to do? They're going to play. They're going to be bored. They're going to be frustrated. They're going to hate reading. That's what I'm being told to do. I'm so confused. We have to open RTI plans that are legal, but we don't even have time to even do the intervention. I mean, there's so much stuff that we don't have time to do.
Thank you.
We're required to do. I'm just going to start informing
Mr.
my
Watson.
parents. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shariko Green.
I would say good afternoon to everyone, to the board members. I won't tarry you long like we say in church. I was wrongfully terminated from my duty on October 29th, 2024. I was never afforded a due process. It is very clear because I filed several grievances with the district, and until no avail, there has been no resolve. Working in the transportation department has been like living in a nightmare. You revisit every single day. The culture in the department has diminished totally. There is no respect for drivers, there's no respect for monitors, and there's definitely no respect for supervisors. As an educated African-American male, because I stand my ground, I'm told that I am aggressive. I'm not aggressive, never been aggressive, but this is what was presented to me. From every director in the department, I have reached out to several board members as well as our new COO. To no avail have I gotten any response back. I'm seeking a fair due process because I feel like I was wrongfully terminated. And I have witnesses who can attest to what truly transpired and happened on that day. Thank you.
Thank you. I will accept a motion to adjourn. Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you, everyone, for coming.